In the past, we are basically Democrats, all of us, and after what's happened the last 4 years in this country, Democrats are basically pushing everybody to the other side. We're a very patriotic group, and we love our country, and we want the best for America. We are tired of immigration. We're tired of our tax dollars going to immigration. We're tired of the crime. We need to put a handle on things in this country and bring it back to how it should be.
Hello, everyone. As the migrant crisis intensifies, we have a new caravan that's already underway. I will be touching base on that in today's episode. However, I do want to highlight the main point of today's video, which is more migrants complaining. Some of them are not happy with the accommodations they are receiving at this shelter. And some went as far as saying that they are against Border Patrol agents being around the shelters. That puts them at risk of deportation. Hence, they are fighting against that. But before we get going, did you see Senile Joe's new campaign ad?
Did you know that by pitching in the costs of a morning cup of Joe, you can help re-elect my friend Joe?
Whether it's $3 or more, no gift is too small to make a difference.
By the time you finish this video, a lot of folks
Hold on. What's going on in here? Joe looks like a complete puppet. Where is Obama's other hand? From here, it looks like he's sticking his hand up Joe's you-know-what. Can we get a camera from the back? You know what? Never mind. None of us want to see that. Actually, I'm pretty done with this video. Furthermore, I wanted to address a couple of things you guys have been mentioning in the comment section. The first one is the election. I hear you. Myself, I have a lot of questions about what happened in the 2020 election. Is that okay? I'm still allowed to have questions, right? I know that is a very sensitive topic to discuss on these platforms. Remember, I need to protect my channel, but we cannot discourage people from voting. It is our last beacon of hope. I am confident that at some point, we will see everything much clearer. And by that, I mean when the American people are voting a certain way and the results, both in the short and long term, come out to be the opposite of that, then things will have consequences. But we need to go through the process. We cannot sit back and say, well, I believe this or I know this, and let's just sit back and let everything fall apart. We need to continue with the process. And by going through the process is where we will see what is really happening here. Sometimes you have to read between the lines. Likewise, the other set of comments are referring to, please do not call them migrants. Refer to them as illegal aliens. Guys, I need you to understand the following. Once again, I have to protect this channel. We live in a different world now. That is a sad reality. And look what happened to my TikTok account. It didn't matter that I followed the community guidelines. You guys have watched my videos. I don't sit here and curse or anything like that. In fact, the migrants do it and their channels remain standing. So this is an uphill battle, but we need to be very smart about it, okay? So calling them that, which is the right term, I agree with you 100%. It does not do any good putting the channel at risk. Similarly, remember, a lot of these migrants have gone on social media and have taken selfies with their new work permit and social security numbers. And those that don't have it and are new to America have the NTA notice. For the most part, okay? We have seen that ourselves. Am I in agreement with that? No. But a lot of them are technically legal, not citizens or official residents, but they do have the basic documentation. Once again, all thanks to Papa Biden. We need to understand that, guys. A lot of these folks are not gotaways. As a result, they have started the asylum seeking process. Please understand that. And the lamestream media, they have made the migrant word a trend. So if I sit here and say illegal aliens and put it on the thumbnail, put it on the subject, we will lose a lot of viewership. We cannot do that. We need the message to reach the masses. Think of it as using their own ridiculous anti-American agenda against them. And there it is again, the uphill battle. It is a misinformation war. We have to be intelligent on how to fight it. Which reminds me, thank you so much for sharing my videos. And please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We have to win this battle against the left-sided algorithm. That being said, migrants complaining. We are sleeping on the floor. Can you believe it? Let's get started. Okay, guys, let's start with the latest Caravan. This report is from 1 month ago. This journalist starts by saying, let's go to Mexico to check out the new Caravan that is already on the way. This new Caravan started around Easter weekend. But let's go with the reporter that is on Mexico City and has boots on the ground. He says, yes, guys, they tell us that they're leaving their countries due to extreme poverty and violence. But then when they try to pass through all of these Central American countries and Mexico, they also go through hunger and they encountered violence as well. In addition to poor medical treatment, and the weather is also affecting them. Needless to say, they started that journey around Easter weekend. And we have around 1,500 migrants from Cuba, Guatemala, Venezuela, Honduras, El Salvador. And they tell us they want to do it in a peaceful manner. They don't want to battle any authorities, but they want the authorities to understand their necessities. And they do want to achieve the American dream, and they want to make it into the US, and they want to work, the journalist is explaining here. And here we go to one of the migrants, and he says, we were looking for alternatives. And one of them was to come in the legal way, but a lot of us have decided now to enter illegally instead. But either way, he says, we have started walking, and we do want to enter the country in a peaceful manner. We hope they understand us and they comprehend our situation. We want to make an accord with the American authorities so that they let us come in legally and in a peaceful manner. You got that? So in his head, it makes sense to come across Central America, then Mexico, to eventually make it to the USA and tell the Border Patrol agents, we come in a peaceful manner, please let us into the country legally for free. Just open the doors. That's how these individuals are planning this, okay? Let's see what else the reporter says. He states, that's what they are saying. They want to peacefully cross into Mexico and then the USA. At the same time, they are saying they are victims of violent crimes. And they are telling us that they are protesting against the SB4 law, which will prohibit them from entering the United States. Let's listen to some of their other concerns. And then there is this other migrant here apparently says, we are telling all of the Latinos throughout all of these medias that we are against Greg Abbott and we should vote against him for being a racist politician and someone that is promoting illegal laws. The journalist finalizes the report. This caravan has around 1,500 migrants that has kids, teens, adults, and seniors. And yes, the weather is rough. Sometimes the heat can go over 100 degrees. Therefore, they are not having a good time. They are hoping to make it to the city of Mexico and from there to the American border. You see, that's the lamestream media for you guys. So this migrant was accusing Greg Abbott of being a racist for trying to protect his state and his country. I mean, let's face it, Greg Abbott is doing a lot more than Biden has ever done in his entire political career. But that's the entitlement mentality for you guys. Simply let us in. And if you don't, then you are a racist. Guys, just for the record, the following 3 reports are all from a year ago. Nonetheless, they are still important, being that it is still happening today. Here she says Univision is always in touch with the agencies that are assisting with the migrant crisis in New York. And we also hear from a lot of our viewers that are in need of assistance. So let's see what is happening over there in New York. This other one says, that is correct. You guys know the migrant crisis is intensifying here in the city. And she says, by law, New York has to take them, although the system is overwhelmed. But even with that help, we are still getting pictures like this from migrants that are staying at some of these shelters. And they claim that the food is not nutritious enough. On the other hand, the city tells us that everyone is receiving the same meals unless you have a medical condition or allergies, because what the city is trying to do is to feed the population. Also, they tell us that the migrants are not allowed to have any electric kitchens or rice makers unless you have a special permit to have them. Then she says, remember, if you are staying at a shelter, you have to adhere to the rules and the security codes. This migrant says, I am thankful. At least I have a roof over my head. Then the journalist jumps over and says that most of them have told us that the rooming hotels and the shelters are comfortable and they are thankful. But unfortunately, we received this photo that shows a mattress that is not in an optimum condition. She continues, we remind you that the shelter system is overwhelmed and the resources are limited. That is why the city has moved forward in building more emergency shelters. Either way, we did reach out to human resources of the company that handles the migrants' meals. We want them to investigate what is happening with the food situation in the shelters, specifically the one in Brooklyn. And they told us they will investigate to see if anyone has broken any rules. Wow, guys, the Banana Republic is alive and well. Let's move forward with the next report. Right, so this reporter is in Mexico and she says, this is the 3rd day since this group of 600 migrants left the bus station in Monterrey to go to the US border. This has been a long trip, and a lot of them have shown us how tired they are. And this Venezuelan migrant says, I want to make it to my destination. I can no longer do this. The journalist continues, pregnant women and children have been attended by medical teams, some authorities within the towns, and even some community members that have given them some food and assistance. Look at that, putting a child through that. What a disgrace. The reporter says some mothers have been separated from their little ones. Then this mother, who apparently just found her child, says, it was 4 hours where I felt my world was crumbling and my life was ending. And I was desperate, thinking that maybe something happened to her and that she was sad. So the journalist says sometimes they have lost contact for many hours. And here we see the two of them reuniting and crying. Then the reporter says, we also have some security checkpoints, and that is why a lot of these migrants have to sit and wait by the shade to make sure they are able to get through the checkpoint, which most of them do get through, she says, but others have been detained and deported by authorities. Again, this is in Mexico, and she says a lot of them are tired, but you can still see the hope in their faces. They are a few miles away from the US border. What a complete mess, all the way from the bottom to the very top. Let's jump into the last report. Okay, so this one is about the migrants in Brooklyn again. He says there's a group of migrants that are complaining about the conditions in the shelters where they are staying at, and they are seeking assistance in getting a job. At the same time, activists are protesting the presence of Border Patrol agents around the shelter. This is a security risk for the migrants. Now, the female reporter says this shelter has the capacity to house around 1,000 migrant men, but it has become the epicenter of some complaints. And this migrant says, we are practically sleeping on the floor. It's not easy, he says. It's not. But we have to do it. Then she says, this is the only shelter for a lot of them. This other Venezuelan migrant has a different opinion than the one we just watched. And he says, we have to be thankful. We have to thank God. At least we're getting some meals. There's a lot of people that are not eating right now. Then she says, this is how they are living in the controversial shelter. We got this video from an activist, and it's showing us how the migrants are living there right now. This is Jose, and he's an activist. He's saying, we are calling out Mayor Eric Adams. We are telling him to stop with the Trump policies. We are asking him to not have this detention center for migrants. We want him to close it down. Then the reporter says, by the same token, there are concerns about Border Patrol agents driving around the center. The activist says, we have seen them twice around here. They are driving around the shelter. And the migrants here are running the risk of being deported. The journalist says that the city replied to them and told them that New York is a sanctuary city. They don't work with ICE. This port, however, is part of the federal government. And so they have to work around the area. But they are not part of the humanitarian force. She moves forward and says, at the same time, migrants are asking for a work permit. Here's the complaining migrant again, and he says, I have experience in construction, but do you know how much I've been struggling to find a job here? Very difficult. Way too much. And I'm not the only one. It's a lot of us. The reporter states, these temporary shelters can house 1,000 men, but per some employees, around 600 beds are now being used. In the meantime, the city is preparing themselves to provide more hotel rooms for migrants, but those are for the families. Around 40,000 migrants have arrived to the city from the border, and they have been added to the other 60,000 homeless New Yorkers who are also dependent on the shelters in the city. Don't you love the magnificent ideas of some of these politicians? We already have poverty in the city. Let's bring more. That will boost our economy. And what's up with this activist? He was so angry. He needs to calm down a little bit. What do you guys think about him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like always, thank you so much for watching the video. And thank you for the amazing support. The shoutouts are down below. Don't forget to follow me everywhere just in case. And if you want to chat with me, share more information about this or any other trending topic, feel free to join my Discord. The invite link is down below. Please, before you leave, smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you can share the video, I would greatly appreciate it. And yes, I will be reading all of your comments. See you guys next time.